Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off, it must be said I am not and have never been a professional financial advisor. Please do not take anything that I say as legal, investment, or any type of monetary advice. Everything said in this video is my own opinion, how I think, how I am going to deal with my own life. Moving on, this has been a very popular topic. I think as the weeks have been rolling on, I started noticing it a couple of weeks ago in general, as we were getting closer to Bitcoin's halving. People were constantly asking me, what was my crypto exit strategy? So here we are. I'm going to tell you everything as much as I possibly can. What I'm going to do, when I'm going to do it, how I'm going to do it, and the amounts as well, because this is also another popular question. While not my best friend, I am going to be using Coinbase to cash out. I think they are amongst the 35 names that you might have heard over the last couple of years as far as cryptocurrency exchanges. I know they are trustworthy. I may not agree with all of their practices, but when it comes to the point of being able to withdraw money, I will be using them. Also, as far as I've also had an account with them, I think since they first opened. So there goes that as well. They pretty much have everything on file. I have made sure that everything is in order, if I can say that. So when it is time to start withdrawing funds, they know and I know that it's going to happen. And as far as like I've you say corresponding with them back and forth, trying to make sure that everything that I'm doing is going to be actually possible, because I had a fear in my mind one time of me trying to take money out of the market and then the exchange being like, no, that's not possible. So I've made sure that everything is actually there. I'm also going to be using Kraken. And I say these two names simply because I've been using them the longest. I've seen the growth of these platforms. While I don't actively use them now and I don't actually have any money on them currently, I have everything set up within my actual account. Once again, I've spoken to the actual companies, and I know that I'll be able to use them when it comes to actually cashing out, taking money out of the market. I'm sure that there are other places that you may use, other cryptocurrency exchange websites that you feel more comfortable with. At the moment, I choose these two because they are my two. I've mentioned before, I don't like the idea of having my money spread out all over the place. I don't like the idea of having my money across 16 different cryptocurrency exchanges. I want it to be as simple, quick, easy as possible, especially when we're currently in a world right now where any type of cryptocurrency transaction that cashes back into the US dollar or the euro or the yen creates some type of a crazy taxable event, and they want to know all the information for it. So I'm trying to simplify it to ease my headache and also to not have any problems in the future. So I will be using Kraken and Coinbase. I kept on seeing this question, and at first I didn't know if people were honestly asking me or not. There are, of course, other platforms. You may even also be able to use Binance US or normal Binance, or what are the other ones? But these are the ones that I'm aiming for because I've known them, have used them the longest. So the most popular question that I keep getting over and over and over is, once again, what is my exit strategy? And also, what is my price exit strategy? What numbers will I be cashing out of the market? I'm going to tell you the numbers for myself, and I will give you a brief explanation as to why I am choosing these numbers. And yeah, so without further ado, starting with Ethereum. The first time I'm going to cash out myself of Ethereum is around the $4,000 mark. Why 4,000? Ethereum, let's see if we can actually even look at the chart. This might be a bit better to explain to everyone. You click on all right here. Ethereum reached around $1,400, give or take, in 2017. This was before we had any actual strong, really heavy momentum that Ethereum was going to even be a DeFi platform, or that all this Ethereum was going to be locked up. The idea of Ethereum 2.0 was still at that point, roughly around here, a couple of years away, if not a couple of long amount of months. Ethereum has really come into its own. A lot of people may not like Ethereum. That means nothing to me. I am in a lot of this for the money. It's about a good 80-20. I care about the decentralization of a lot of this cryptocurrency space. However, to be completely realistic, I'm trying to make sure that things are comfortable for me and comfortable for my family for the rest of our lives. So as Ethereum hit 1400, once again, this is all just based off of stuff that I've gone through in my head. And the actual, I'm not going to give you a full rundown of every single article I've read over the last 3 to 4 years to be like, and this is how I got to $4,000 Ethereum. It's just not possible. I'm not trying to make a 3.5-hour video. $4,000 is my target for when I cash out half of the Ether that I have. The other target that I have, and this is a much longer target. So a lot of the targets that I have, I give myself, what's the word? Kind of short and long targets. The first half of the target is always when we hit this number, sell half of what you have. I never intend to sell all of anything. I think that would be a major mistake on the part of myself because I never know exactly where these things could go. So even if at the end I am only simply holding an Ether, then I still only have an Ether and I can still see the price rise or price drop, what have you, so on and so forth. 4,000 will be the first half of me selling off, and the other half will be if Ether ends up hitting $10,000 per coin. And I know usually a lot of people, when you kind of throw these numbers out there, they're like, oh, that's never going to happen. There was never any inkling. If you look at the Ethereum's price used to be less than $1. I'm trying to like actually hit it. There we go. There was never an indication in 2016 that a year later Ethereum would be $1,400. There's been a huge amount of momentum. We've seen we've gone over the news. We don't have to go over it right now as far as the things that have been happening with Ethereum, the locking up of coins, the lowering of the issuance rate. It's kind of all there. It spells everything out. So if we can hit 4,000 and the momentum continues and we still have JP Morgan Chase and all these other companies who are also still going to be using Ethereum as well, it seems likely if the actual issuance rate from Ethereum 2.0 is going to end up in the negative because of the coin burn on the network, that we could potentially one day hit 10,000. That is when the second half of what I have, so the entire portion, that will also be cut in half at 10,000. That's when I'll sell. And at that point, the rest of it kind of just remains in a wallet somewhere until maybe my kids are 35 years old and I'm like, oh, look at what I have. Never intend on selling everything. First target, 4,000. Second target, 10,000. For XRP, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you are wondering for this as well, I plan on selling a fourth, 25% of my XRP around $3. I think XRP is going to have a very interesting price movement time period upward. I think it's going to be relatively difficult for a while until we end up getting a huge amount of momentum like we did in 2017. I think a lot of news is being held back from the people from Ripple or simply other partners. I'm not exactly sure what it is, and at this point I really am. I'm actually shrugging. You can't see my shrug, but my shoulders are shrugging. I anticipate a time around the time that we get to a $2.97 XRP, it's going to cause a lot of fear in the market, and I think the market will end up, I don't want to say plummeting, but we'll fall back. There'll be a huge pullback, and we'll start getting all these articles. Is XRP doing yada, 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 yada. So around the $3 area, I'm going to sell a fourth of my XRP. The next time, from the rest that's left, that I plan on selling half of it, of what's currently left, will be when XRP hits around $10. At that point, after that, all the XRP that I have will be held, secured, custodied. I'm not exactly sure what. I think $10 is fairly easy to hit. I think even if it's just part of a relatively strong hype cycle, if we have a Bitcoin price going to 20,000, 25, 37,000, 44,000, and we get like we're nearing $50,000, I think all the altcoins will profit, regardless if I think that they're amazing, wonderful, super cool or not. I think XRP will also be caught up in that draft, and that is also if at the same exact time that we're not getting actual news from companies that are actually using XRP, that we don't see more companies custodying or buying or holding XRP. I think $10 is relatively believable. If you don't think that XRP can't triple the price from where it was before, I don't know what to tell you. The point is, I think it's going to be a movement like 2017. I think it's going to be very sharp, very fast going up. And the movement down is going to be one of the strongest roller coasters that we've ever seen. Once again, this is just how I kind of perceive things. Fourth of my XRP, gone at $3. The rest that's left, half of that, $10. And after that, any XRP that I have left will be held. You know I don't have any Bcash. I definitely don't have any BSV. For Litecoin, I plan on selling half of the Litecoin that I have around $500. I think Litecoin ended up hitting around 300 and let's look at it 1 second. I think XRP was it 340, 420, 328? All. It was. Can't click on the exact number for some reason on this website. 312, 314. Doesn't matter the exact amount. I think Litecoin will continue on this trend. Litecoin has had a very strong. The fact that Litecoin is even still around, and we see that there's still momentum in Litecoin, I think Litecoin in the long term, after multiple halvings, will do fairly well in the future. I'm not expecting $1 million Litecoin, but I think at some point we could eventually hit a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 Litecoin many moons in the future. However, I'm incredibly impatient, and I'm not waiting 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 15 years for a $3,000 Litecoin. When Litecoin hits $500, half of what I own will be sold immediately. At that point, you know the drill. The rest of it will be locked up, custodied away in some far off land or in a mountain or wherever people are putting their cryptocurrencies at that point. Scrolling down at number 9, EOS. I'm going to sell half of the EOS I own at around $100. I think EOS will also be caught up in a hype cycle. Keeping in mind, a lot of what I'm telling you is just the honest truth. A lot of people think sometimes that because I hold a coin, the cryptocurrency space is incredibly tribal. I am not tribal. I'm in it for the money. For a lot of these coins, I wholeheartedly do not expect EOS or many other coins to outlast Bitcoin. I just do not think it's going to happen. I mean, they could have a bright future ahead of them, but I think as far as a 20, 30 years into the future, I don't see a lot of these coins existing. But at that point, I will have definitely already pulled my money from those coins out of the market. So while EOS may potentially be, you know, it in the future, half of it, what I own, will be sold at $100. I think we can definitely hit there. I think it's a little weird to look at the prices as they are now, and I say these large numbers, and it's kind of like a, can it hit there? Yeah, I think it definitely can. The rest of my EOS that I have, I've thought of it before, and I've struggled to try and decide if I wanted to sell half of it or all of it around the $250 and or $500 range. Once again, unless something really dramatic happens over the next 2 years with EOS, I am probably going to completely rid myself of EOS because that's just how I am personally in this investment strategy. And I will definitely be able to use the money that I take away from that to be able to do many other different projects. I'm not expecting a $7,000, $8,000 EOS ever. If it does happen, whoop-de-doo for everyone who's holding it. But for me, half of it's going away at 100, and then I'm going to have to sit there and decide when it's floating between, if it starts floating between 250 and 500, if I'm going to sell another half or sell all of it. Because, yeah, I do not have any Tezos. When it comes to Cardano, I plan on selling half of it. This is a very difficult one because I've thought of selling half of my Cardano around $1. But even the previous high before was around $1.30. So it seems a bit quick, too quick to kind of do that. I've also thought of selling around the $3 to $5 range, but a lot of this is Cardano needs Shelly. Cardano needs to actually move forward with all of the upgrades that we've been told that we were going to get for a very long time. If we enter some type of a crazy, ridiculous, insane bull market, I expect ADA to go up over $1, but I don't see it hitting $3 to $5. I think if Shelly finally, eventually, whenever launches, I think $3 to $5 is definitely more possible. I think if we see a huge amount of momentum within Cardano itself, I think I would start to lighten the load at around $2.50. Even at that point, I'd be afraid of a pullback in price. $1 for a while I've definitely thought of, but it seems a bit foolish to kind of sell that early. But around the time Cardano's floating with the $3 to $5 price dollar range, should it ever get there, half of it's gone immediately. And then even then, I've also sat there wondering, like, I need more proof myself as an investor that IOHK and Cardano are actually going to make it. It has nothing to do with, yeah, we'll have an upgrade in 3 to 4 or 5 years. Yeah, we'll eventually do this. The race has already started, and at the very front of it, It's Ethereum and Bitcoin is leagues ahead of Ether. So I do not currently foresee a future where Cardano or any of the other Ethereum killer coins are going to actually surpass Ethereum. Once again, we need these upgrades, but that's how I mean, I even mentioned before, I'm not a believer at all in Cardano. If Cardano decides to go to $38 sometime in the future, by all means, write stuff in the comment section and tell me how wrong I was. But I am purely into Cardano for the money. Even from 5 cents, or even before when I was picking it up, what was it, around 2 to 3 cents? And I was telling you, a move up to $1 is going to be astronomically phenomenal for the prices and the amount that I actually ended up picking up. My goal of money to make from Cardano is roughly around $150,000 to $200,000, and I think that is completely doable in the time. And I'm giving it a good 2 years something time frame. I think it could obviously happen before. If we hit 130 before there was actually any real momentum with Cardano, if Shelly hits, it's definitely possible for a $3 to $5 Cardano. But at that point, once again, the main goal for me for Cardano is to buy an extremely low, sell extremely high, and then use that money to buy a vacation property somewhere. That is the only reason why I have Cardano. The only. The ONLY. The other part, I don't have Chainlink. I do not own Lumens. I don't own any of these coins. None. No IOTA. No Zcash. No Maker. No Doge. No VeChain Thor. I do, however, once again, still have Omise Go. People were asking me this before. I have not sold any of my coins. I do not sell my coins. I have not sold my coins. I have only been accumulating. I still have my stack of Omise Go, whatever word you kind of want to use for it. I expect, let's see, I think Omise Go's previously all-time high was $23 or something like that. 1 second. Yep, 23, roughly 23, 24, somewhere around there. As it stands right now, me and Omise Go are acquaintances, but we are not best friends. I think the Omise Go team needs to really get it together. I understand that for those of you who do not know the Omise Go team, what they have said before and what they do is they don't want to give an enormous amount of news or information because they don't want to hype anything up. They say when things are done, they'll be done. However, that's not how the real world works. At some point, people will get very fatigued and tired, and they'll need to know that things are going to continue moving, especially if they have invested money into it. So my thing is around $25, roughly. I'm going to sell half of my Omise Go. Bam, immediately. Especially because Omise Go has just been added onto Coinbase. Immediately. Half of it gone. Simply because it'll be incredible profits that I've made, but also it's kind of like a... Yeah, the other rest that I will be left with, half of that will be sold should Omise Go ever at some point surpass or get near $100. I think that is definitely possible, especially if all the partnerships and links that we heard between them and the Ethereum team still hold. But it's looking very choppy, if you kind of want to say that. Right. These are the only coins that I actually hold. Now, for the one I'm pretty sure you've all been waiting for is Bitcoin. Here's my idea behind Bitcoin. Everything in the world, no matter what it is, no matter where you go, no matter what you're trying to buy or purchase, can be already purchased with Bitcoin. If you don't believe me, search it. I promise you, everything on the planet can in some way already be purchased with Bitcoin. Even if there's a store that does not accept Bitcoin, there are other websites that will take your Bitcoin and convert it into a like legit websites as well. That will, what's it called? Make them into gift cards and whatnot and so forth. Everything you would like to buy, you can buy exclusively also in Bitcoin. So that's part number one. By the time we get to a $50,000 to a $100,000 Bitcoin, Bitcoin's dominance, I dare not use the word supremacy, over the US dollar will be, people will have poured cement over it and the cement will have begun to harden. When we talk about Bitcoin already being the 8th largest currency on the planet, and that's around the time that Bitcoin is, I think that article was written when Bitcoin was floating around $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. A $50,000 Bitcoin, $1 trillion market cap, under a $2 trillion market cap completely solidifies Bitcoin's dominance over many other things. I believe in Bitcoin. I think it will do exceedingly well. The chart also looks absolutely fantastic, especially when you look at the triangular shapes. I never actually intend to sell Bitcoin. I never intend to swap my Bitcoin back into US dollars. Unless there is some type of crazy apocalyptic dramatic event where I am in desperate need for cash, I will only accumulate more Bitcoin until the wheels fall off. That's number 3. The entire thing is basically one major experiment for me as an investor, and also I guess for the rest of the world. When you talk about Bitcoin being something that's able to usurp the US dollar, those are fighting words. So I kind of want to see how it all plays out. I've told many of you before, when it comes to the cryptocurrency space or many other investments, it's a very incredibly, destructively volatile market. If you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. No one will blame you. No one will laugh at you. No one will judge you. There's always a risk that tomorrow Bitcoin could go down to 0. No one knows the future. It's not written in stone. Nothing is written in the stars. No one knows for certain. People believe strongly in Bitcoin and that Bitcoin may do well, but no one can for certain say where Bitcoin is going to be a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 years from now. I do, however, plan on using my Bitcoin to actually buy things by the time Bitcoin is floating around 250,000 US dollars. Even then, that's a very huge question mark that hangs over my head. Like, will you actually do that? And the resounding answer is a soft yes and a major no. By the time Bitcoin is around $250,000, we will probably have gone past the what's it called? The 2024 halving, and many people will start to get into Bitcoin as a deflationary asset, as they currently are right now. And deflationary assets, especially Bitcoin in comparison to the US dollar, we will mathematically, so the saying goes, be able to see the actual appreciation of Bitcoin's price as it continuously becomes even scarcer. More people are buying it as an asset, and the scarcer it becomes, the higher the price goes, the higher Bitcoin's price goes as a deflationary asset. And many other countries around the world have negative interest rates. People will start to choose Bitcoin as an investment vehicle over other assets. I don't know if you've ever read these books before. For those of you who have, I'm pretty sure you're like, yup. This is kind of the idea behind it. People will simply start buying Bitcoin as their investment vehicle or as an asset, as opposed to buying real estate. That's not saying that real estate is going to crumble into the ground, but if you are getting a 3, 4, 5, 7, 15% return with Bitcoin per year, you would simply turn around and say, well, I know that I'm going to make more money with Bitcoin as opposed to buying real estate, as opposed to buying a car, as opposed to buying anything else. And that's kind of the future that is envisioned and has been envisioned for quite a long amount of time. This is why I keep saying, like, a lot of the stuff that I read before when I first got into cryptocurrencies around 2012, nearly all of it has come true. Even the countries fighting us, and the arguments and the anger and the confusion, and the price drops down and the price movements back up. It's all been, what's the word? I don't want to say prophesized. I think it's just general economics or extreme economics when you kind of look at it that way. The major point being, after all of that, I never plan on getting rid of my Bitcoin. I think if we end up hitting a $250,000 Bitcoin, I may begin to use it for some purchases, to buy things that I may want, other things to invest in. But even at that point, once again, we go back to that loop that I was just talking about as far as why would I want to get rid of the Bitcoin if I know that it's only going to be worth more a year later? So yeah, I hope I answered your questions. I saw about 4 or 5 of these questions just in the last video alone. I assume as prices have been going up or rumbling up or whatever the case might be the last couple of weeks, that maybe this was something in the back of people's minds. Very basic strategy, nothing too complicated about mine. I just have price is, in my head for everything, for whenever I want to get rid of assets, except for like real estate. Like real estate, I accumulate and don't sell, especially if you watched one of my other videos. Anyway, yeah, I hope I answered all of your questions. It is fairly simple. I'm going to be using 2 exchanges. I'm going to be pushing that crypto onto those exchanges. When we start reaching near these numbers, I'm going to put in automatic sell orders, and then hopefully wake up in the morning and I have money in my account. And then when everything is cleared and dust has settled 2 or 3 weeks, months later, I'm going to use that money to buy property. That has been a huge major goal of mine for a very long time. Yeah, I do hope that you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And yeah, I'll most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.